Warning! The following program contains strong opinions, political thrashings, unfiltered commentary, explicit language, and enough truth to make at least 3 major news networks cry into their soy lattes. If you're allergic to facts, logic, or jokes at the expense of incompetent politicians, turn back now. For everyone else, welcome to Data and Dissonance. Viewer discretion isn't just advised, it's required.
Tonight on Data and Dissonance, the world hits DEFCON. Are you freaking kidding me? All at once. Iran decides it wants to poke the wrong superpower. Again. Israel fires back harder than Chicago's property tax hikes, and Trump responds by sending a naval presence so massive it probably has its own zip code. Meanwhile, the southern border isn't just broken. It's spilling upward as cartels march straight into Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska, like they're on some twisted sightseeing tour of Middle America. And while all that chaos unfolds, BRICS rolls out its shiny new anti-dollar currency, acting like communists suddenly understand economics. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday, which means the sanity of this show is already questionable, but the entertainment is guaranteed. Let me introduce the crew who turns political meltdown into premium-grade comedy. First up, the man who treats every Friday like it's his personal Super Bowl, the walking flamethrower of MAGA energy, the guy who could burn down an entire liberal arts college with one sentence. Brian. If it's stupid, he's roasting it. If it's woke, he's vaporizing it. MAGA Fire Friday is officially in session. Next, balancing out the testosterone and the chaos with actual brain power. A woman who somehow maintains composure while sitting between Brian's fire and Daniel's conspiracy hurricane. Rachel. She brings the facts, the nuance, and the disappointment of someone who's had to explain reality to Democrats one too many times. Then there's the mastermind of mayhem, the conspiracy architect himself, the man who can take a pothole in Delaware and connect it to a CIA document from 1993, a missing pallet of ammo, and an offshore account linked to 3 senators. Daniel. His board is bigger than the Pentagon's. And last but never least, representing the Green Party, the Progressive Wing, the Environmental Crusaders, and the brave souls who believe solar panels can solve foreign policy. Skylar, every week she walks into this show knowing we're about to stress test her blood pressure, and she still shows up ready to swing. That's the crew. That's the chaos. That's your Friday lineup. Let's get to work. All right, segment 1. And this one's hotter than Chicago's taxpayer hotline right now. Iran decided to do what Iran always does. Act tough, fire off proxy rockets, and pretend they're the main character of global politics. Israel answered with something between a warning shot and a wake-up call from God himself, and Trump said, "Yeah, we're not doing this dance again," and sent a naval presence so massive even Google Maps had to zoom out twice. Democrats are panicking. The media is auditioning for a collective fainting couch, and Iran suddenly looks like a kid who talked smack until dad walked into the room. Let's break this down. Brian, burn the fuse.
Thank you, because Iran only grows balls when Democrats are running the show. The second Trump ships a carrier group their direction, they go from death to America to let's seek peaceful dialogue and international understanding. Yeah, kiss my ass. You weren't saying that 10 minutes ago when you were launching rockets like it was the 4th of July. And the media, holy hell. Trump is escalating. Really? Really? The dude who responded to Iran's first move is the problem? These people couldn't find their spine with a GPS. Trump sends in strength, Iran folds, and Democrats cry same movie, different day. And Israel? Bro, Israel has zero chill, and I respect it. They get hit. They hit back before the dust even settles. You don't mess with them. Iran tried, Trump backed them, and now the entire region remembers how peace actually works. Through strength, not through hashtags.
Brian coming in hot like Iran's reactors, ladies and gentlemen. Every time he talks about the Middle East, I'm surprised he doesn't spontaneously grow aviators and a cigar like Patton rising from the grave. But yeah, you're right. Iran pokes, Israel smacks, Trump stabilizes, and Democrats act like resolving conflict requires a drum circle and gluten-free snacks. Rachel, clean this up for the people who still think foreign policy is just feelings with subtitles.
What drives me insane is the media pretending this is complicated when it isn't. Iran is the aggressor. Israel defends itself. The US reinforces deterrence. That's literally the only equation in that region that works. But instead of acknowledging reality, the left spins it like Trump woke up and decided to cosplay as a Bond villain. Iran fires rockets and somehow Trump is the escalation? It's exhausting. The region stays stable when the US shows it's not afraid to back its allies, and that's exactly what Trump just did, and anyone pretending they don't know this is either lying or terminally stupid. Iran respects force. They respond to strength. Every time Trump sent strength, that's leadership. It isn't warmongering, it's adulting on an international scale.
Thank you, Rachel, for explaining foreign policy in a way even a CNN intern could understand. Assuming they weren't too busy updating their pronouns on Slack. Seriously, if we could attach Rachel's logic to the Democrats' brains, we'd solve half of Congress' electrical failures. Daniel, connect the dots like only you can.
Oh, the dots are connected, all right. And this wasn't random at all. Iran's rockets didn't launch in a vacuum. They launched right after the optic files leak dropped, exposing every NGO that's been back-channeling influence in Europe. That leak embarrassed all the wrong people, and guess who their favorite chaos agent is? Iran. Meanwhile, BRICS was gearing up for their big anti-dollar stunt. So they needed a distraction, a test, a global smoke bomb. Enter Iran's proxies. But here's what they didn't expect. Trump responded immediately. No delays, no committees, no consultations. He sent a wall of steel and firepower into the region before Iran could even finish its propaganda tweets. And that reaction, that speed, disrupted whatever coordination was in motion. Russia went quiet. China went quiet. Iran shut its mouth. That's not coincidence. That's an operation interrupted. Trump didn't just de-escalate. He foiled the script.
And that, folks, is why Daniel's wall looks like the Hellraiser puzzle box had a baby with a detective board. The man sees patterns nobody else does. And 9 times out of 10, they check out Iran throwing a tantrum the same week BRICS tries to launch a fake currency? Yeah, seems pretty damn rehearsed to me. Skylar, bring in the other side before Brian starts sharpening knives again.
Look, I'm not defending Iran. Their regime is brutal, corrupt, and dangerous. But we also can't pretend the United States hasn't helped create the instability that fuels these flashpoints. We've spent decades playing chess with real people's lives in the Middle East. Yes, Iran needs to be checked. Yes, Israel has every right to defend itself. And yes, Trump projecting strength can prevent immediate escalation. But military power doesn't build peace. It pauses conflict. It doesn't end it. We need to address root causes, corruption, economic inequity, and the humanitarian disasters that give extremist groups their foothold. Strong responses are sometimes necessary. They can't be the only tool we rely on, or this cycle will never end.
And that's why I love this panel. Fire, logic, conspiracy receipts, and progressive reality checks all in one place. Iran pokes the world. Israel answers. Trump stabilizes, and the media still tries to blame the guy stopping World War III. That wraps segment 1. And trust me, we're just getting warmed up.
Are you a major news network struggling to understand basic foreign policy? Do you find yourself panicking anytime Trump projects strength? Are you allergic to facts, logic, and reality? Then you need the CNN Middle East Crisis Kit. For just $39.99 a month, you'll receive everything you need to manufacture outrage and pretend Iran didn't start the fight. Each kit includes a map of the Middle East with every country labeled somewhere bad, a stress ball shaped like Trump's head, squeeze it whenever he does something effective, a break glass in case of peace emergency panic button that immediately blames Republicans, a laminated cheat sheet titled How to Cry on Air Without Smudging Your Eyeliner, the Anderson Cooper Method, a reusable tote bag made from recycled MSNBC scripts, perfect for carrying your emotional baggage. And that's not all. Order within the next 10 minutes and we'll throw in a free bottle of Rachel Maddow's Selective Outrage Merlot. The only wine guaranteed to taste better when facts hurt your narrative. The CNN Middle East Crisis Kit, because when Iran fires rockets and Trump responds with strength, you'll need all the help you can get to spin it backwards.
Side effects may include confusion, emotional instability, crying on camera, factual blindness, and sudden love for anonymous intelligence sources that don't exist.
All right, segment 2. And this one right here should scare the hell out of anybody who lives outside a Democratic fantasy bubble. Because this isn't the border anymore. This isn't Texas, Arizona, or New Mexico. This isn't even the big sanctuary cities drowning in open-door stupidity. No. Cartels are now popping up in Colorado, Kansas, and goddamn Nebraska. When the Sinaloa cartel is standing in the middle of a cornfield going, "Bro, where the hell are we?" You know something has gone horribly wrong, and Democrats are still claiming this is fear-mongering. You have Colorado ranchers spotting cartel drones at night. You have Kansas deputies chasing coyotes down rural dirt roads like it's some off-brand Fast and Furious Corn Belt drift. You've got Nebraska sheriffs saying they're finding stash houses in places that literally used to be nothing but cows and fishing bait shops. This isn't a leak. This is a flood, and it's the inevitable result of sanctuary state loopholes and years of Democrat logic so stupid it should qualify as a controlled substance, Brian. Light it up.
Bro, cartels in Nebraska. Do you understand how insane that is? Nebraska's entire brand is corn, football, and that's it. If a cartel is showing up there, that means the border is basically a wide-open CVS drive-thru, and Democrats are still out here saying, this is normal, this is compassion, this is diversity. Shut the hell up. Diversity isn't when your local sheriff finds a cartel scout hiding behind a grain silo. That's not multiculturalism. That's a goddamn invasion. In Colorado, Jesus, that state went from ski resorts and legal weed to full-on Narcos Season 7. People are out hiking and seeing cartel drones instead of bald eagles. Kansas deputies are confused as hell. They signed up to break up bar fights, not chase traffickers across cornfields like they're filming a Discovery Channel special. This is 100% on the left. Sanctuary policies are like giant neon signs saying you reward cartels, free real estate. Trump warned them. Republicans warned them, every sane person warned them. But Democrats were too busy virtue signaling at Whole Foods to listen.
Brian is not wrong. If you see a cartel member in Nebraska, that man took a wrong turn so hard even Google Maps went, "Yo, where the fuck are you going?" Meanwhile, Democrats are acting like this is just tourism. Like cartels are going, "Yes, my friend, we must expand into the Great Plains for cultural enrichment." Rachel, help the people who still think this is manufactured understand just how real this is.
This isn't manufactured. It's documented. The numbers are up, the arrests are up, the encounters are up, and the patterns are shifting north because the cartels are smart. They adapt. They follow weakness. And for years, sanctuary state policies created giant legal blind spots that cartels now exploit with precision. Colorado opened the door with soft enforcement, and the cartels didn't just walk through, they brought furniture. Kansas gets hit next because of highway corridors. Nebraska becomes a transit hub because it's rural, quiet, and understaffed. It's not rocket science, it's strategy. And the idea that this is somehow good or harmless is delusional. Rural towns aren't prepared for organized criminal networks with drones, scouts, encrypted comms, and money that moves faster than their state budgets. People think this only affects border states. But when sanctuary policies create incentives, the consequences ripple everywhere. Trump's team is trying to plug holes, but you can't fix a boat when half the states are drilling new ones.
Rachel out here dropping truth like she's billing the DNC by the hour. Seriously. If Democrats listened to her for one day, half the country wouldn't be on fire. Daniel, you've been circling your conspiracy board since this story dropped. Break down the deeper strings.
Oh, this is so much deeper than cartels move north. Cartels don't just wander into Nebraska because they got bored. They moved north because someone signaled that new corridors were open. Look at the timeline. The caravan surge last month, the sanctuary circuit rulings, and the federal processing bottlenecks, all happening at the same time. That creates an opportunity window, and cartels move fast when windows open. They've been probing Colorado for years because of weak enforcement. Kansas becomes a natural corridor because of I-70. Nebraska becomes a staging zone because of its rural cover and low surveillance density. But here's the real kicker. This is also connected to geopolitical pressure. Every time global tension spikes, cartels push harder because instability is their business model. When Iran escalates, cartels escalate. When BRICS attacks the dollar, cartels adjust supply chains. They don't operate separately from global events. They thrive in global chaos, and right now, chaos is everywhere. This isn't random. This isn't accidental. This is deliberate expansion, while America is distracted.
Daniel out here proving once again that cartels don't just move like criminals. They move like corporations. Evil, bloody corporations with drones and AKs instead of HR departments. And honestly, he's right. Every time the world gets shaky, cartels level up like a Call of Duty villain. Skylar, add your angle before Brian starts screaming into the microphone again.
I'm not denying the cartel problem. It's real, it's dangerous, and rural communities aren't equipped for it. But part of the reason cartels have so much power is because our entire approach to border policy is broken. We've treated migration like a political football instead of addressing the corruption, poverty, and desperation that give cartels recruitment power. And we've ignored demand at home, drug demand, labor exploitation demand, and economic loopholes that make smuggling profitable. Yes, security matters. Yes, we need to stop cartel expansion. But if we pretend this is only a border issue without addressing the underlying economic systems that empower them, we'll keep fighting the symptoms instead of the disease, and rural states need support. Law enforcement, resources, technology, not condescension from people who don't even know where Nebraska is on a map.
And that is segment 2. Fire from Brian, logic from Rachel, a conspiracy map from Daniel, and a structural breakdown from Skylar. But the bigger picture is this. The border crisis is now a national crisis. Cartels don't need the border anymore. They're already in the heartland. And Democrats still think this is a bumper sticker debate. Unreal. All right, hydrate, breathe, reset, because the next segment throws us straight into economic warfare.
Are you a Democrat struggling to understand why cartels keep pouring into your sanctuary state? Do you find yourself shocked that criminals respond positively to zero enforcement and free hotel rooms? Then you need the Democrat Border Welcome Kit trademark. For just the cost of your taxpayers' sanity, this kit includes everything you need to transform your quiet American community into a bustling cartel hotspot. A bilingual come-on-in doormat, guaranteed to confuse ICE, encourage traffickers, and make your neighbors wonder if you're running a human smuggling franchise out of your basement. A sanctuary city handbook, complete with step-by-step instructions on how to defund police, overload your social services, and ensure your property taxes skyrocket like a SpaceX rocket with no supervision. A free punch card for taxpayer-funded hotel rooms. Stay 10 nights, get a free upgrade to a luxury suite with complimentary Uber rides to your next illegal job site. A bright neon sign that reads, "Cartels welcome, no consequences." Perfect for placing in front of courthouses, city halls, or anywhere common sense goes to die. And of course, order now, and we'll throw in a bus ticket directly to Chicago, where you'll be greeted warmly by a mayor who thinks math is oppression. Call within the next 5 minutes and receive a special audio recording of Kamala Harris explaining the border crisis using her signature word salad technique. The border is the border, Because borders border the border. Helpful? No. Hilarious? Absolutely.
Warning, the Democrat border welcome kit may cause crime spikes, budget collapses, mass migration, political hypocrisy, and occasional mayors crying during press conferences. Use responsibly, or like Democrats do, don't.
All right, up next. And this one is the kind of geopolitical insanity that makes you question whether world leaders are drunk, stupid, or both BRICS. The axis of economically confused nations decided they're sick of the US dollar dominating global markets, so they launched their shiny new oil-backed alt currency. China's bragging like they just invented sliced bread. Russia's strutting like they're not held together with duct tape and propaganda. Brazil's smiling because they don't know what's going on. And South Africa's just happy to be invited to something. And right in the middle of this clown convention, Marco Rubio, Trump's Secretary of State, steps up and calmly explains why BRICS' plan is about as stable as a Biden stair-climb attempt. The media, of course, is losing its collective mind, saying this is the end of American dominance, which is hilarious because 3 of the BRICS economies couldn't dominate a lemonade stand without collapsing. Brian, MAGA, fire us into this dumpster blaze.
Bro, BRICS trying to take down the US dollar is like a GoFundMe trying to buy the Pentagon. China's economy is literally on life support. Russia's GDP is smaller than California's. Half the BRICS nations default on their debt more often than Illinois. And they think they're going to replace the dollar? Delusional. This is like watching 5 clowns build a spaceship. And the media, oh my God, is this the end of America's financial dominance? Shut up. These are the same people who told you Bidenomics was working. China's currency isn't stable. Russia's is fake. Brazil's flips every election cycle. India only signed on because they like watching drama. And South Africa, bro, bless their hearts, they're just vibing. Rubio laid it out perfectly. BRICS is basically a group project where everyone cheats off China, but China keeps turning in C- work. The only threat here is the propaganda, and Democrats eat propaganda like cereal.
Brian just summarized BRICS like it's the Special Olympics of global finance, and honestly, he's not wrong. I watched their launch announcement. It looked like a PowerPoint presentation made by interns working off 2 hours of sleep and vibes. Meanwhile, Rubio is out here on every network explaining the math like a frustrated math teacher trying to teach fractions to toddlers who ate the crayons. Rachel, help the people who still think BRICS is a supervillain alliance understand what's actually happening here.
Look, BRICS isn't nothing. It's a coordinated challenge, but it's not the dollar killer the media is hyping it up to be. For a currency to replace the dollar, it needs trust, transparency, consistent policy, a stable economy, global investment, and functional financial institutions. None of the BRICS nations offer that. China manipulates everything. Russia hides its books. Brazil oscillates. South Africa struggles with corruption. India is the only semi-stable member, and even they're cautious. The US dollar isn't strong because America says so. It's strong because investors trust it more than anything else on the planet. That's what BRICS can't replicate. Rubio was right when he said the biggest risk isn't their currency, it's their intent. They don't want to replace the dollar, they want to weaken America geopolitically. And that is what we need to pay attention to.
And that's why Rachel is the adult in this room. She breaks this stuff down like she's explaining it to a classroom full of sleepy teenagers. Except instead of teenagers, it's the Democratic Party and half the global media. Daniel, your board is glowing. Your eyes are glowing. I already know you've got strings connected between Iran, the border surge, BRICS, and probably a suspicious deli receipt from 1998. Lay it out.
Oh, this ties together perfectly. BRICS isn't just launching a currency, they're testing American bandwidth. Look at the timing. Iran escalates militarily on the same week. BRICS escalates economically. Cartels push north at the same time. Global tensions spike. That's not coincidence, that's pressure synchronization. China and Russia love chaos because chaos makes the US juggle multiple crises at once. Militarily, economically, domestically. It's three-front destabilization. And Rubio stepping up immediately. That wasn't for Americans, that was for BRICS He was signaling, "We see what you're doing, and we're not blinking." And guess what? China hasn't released any stability metrics for the new currency. Russia hasn't published the reserves backing their portion. 2 BRICS members didn't even show up to the rollout event. This wasn't a power move. It was a probe. And Trump's response between Iran and BRICS told them everything they needed to know. The US isn't playing defense anymore.
And that's why Daniel's board needs its own Netflix documentary. Man sees geopolitical chess where everyone else sees checkers drawn by feral raccoons. Skylar, bring us home with the progressive lens before Brian jumps in and accuses BRICS of trying to steal his thermostat.
Look, I'm not going to pretend BRICS is a serious replacement for the dollar. It's not. But it is a reflection of something bigger. Resentment toward American financial dominance. Countries turn to alternatives because they're frustrated with how global power works. And yes, some of that frustration is legitimate. So while BRICS' alt currency isn't going to dethrone anything, it does signal shifting alliances and rising distrust. And that matters. Rubio is right to push back hard. But America also needs to modernize, innovate, and stop assuming our global financial influence is automatic. Power needs to be maintained, not taken for granted. Crushing BRICS isn't the goal. Strengthening our own systems is.
Strong breakdowns across the board. From Brian's fire to Rachel's logic to Daniel's multidimensional chess to Skylar's long-term analysis. Bottom line, BRICS doesn't have the strength to dethrone the dollar, but they do have the motive to destabilize us. And you better believe Trump's administration sees right through the smoke. And now it's time to kick into our third satire commercial before we hit the merch drop and the Patriot Minute.
Tired of using stable, reliable American currency? Want to make purchases using a financial system designed by countries that can't even agree on what day it is? Introducing the BRICS credit card, the world's first card guaranteed to decline everywhere. With the BRICS credit card, you'll enjoy exclusive features like 400% APR. Why pay normal interest when you can be financially waterboarded? Zero fraud protection. Because according to BRICS, you are the fraud. Transaction delays that last longer than California budget meetings. We promise your purchase will eventually either process, disappear, or reroute through Russia for verification. But wait, there's more. Activate your BRICS credit card today and receive a free commemorative ruble. Watch it lose value before it even arrives. A Chinese-made wallet that collapses faster than their real estate market. And a pre-recorded voicemail from Vladimir Putin saying, "I swear it's backed by oil this time." Plus, enjoy VIP perks like guaranteed overdraft fees, even if you don't overdraft, a stability rating based entirely on vibes, a monthly newsletter full of economic advice written by people who haven't seen a GDP increase since the Bush administration. The BRICS credit card, because who needs fiscal reliability when you can have 5 unstable nations arguing over currency math?
The BRICS credit card may cause financial collapse, emotional distress, geopolitical instability, unwanted communism, and spontaneous wallet combustion. Not valid in the United States, Europe, most of Asia, anywhere with functioning banks, or any store with a working register.
All right, before we roll into the Patriot Minute and let the emotions flow, it's time to talk about something that actually does make this country stronger. And that's the absolute fire merch lineup you beautiful patriots have been scooping up. And listen, if you haven't grabbed something yet, what are you even doing with your life? Because this lineup is stacked. We got the Data and Dissonance coffee blends, 3 of them, roasted right here in the United States, not blended in some shady BRICS warehouse using recycled drywall. And hopes we got High Lakes Light Roast, crisp and bright like a Colorado morning before the cartels showed up. We got Rock Creek Medium Roast, smooth but strong, the coffee equivalent of Rachel correcting Democrats. And then we got Bitterroot Dark French Roast, bold enough to slap you awake like Brian hearing the words raise taxes. Whole bean ground, however you want it. It's American, it's delicious, and it keeps this show running. And that's just the caffeine. We've also got hoodies, trucker hats, mugs, tumblers, tote bags, socks, bumper stickers, tees, Gen X shirts, everything except a Democrat safe space. Because we don't sell those, the I identify as non-binary stickers are going crazy right now. The Make Orwell Fiction Again bumper sticker is basically its own personality. And the Gen X collection is doing numbers because apparently half of you psychos grew up on lawn darts and unsupervised trauma and want everyone to know it. And seriously, every purchase supports the show and helps me support my mom, which means more than you know. So whether you're grabbing coffee, a hoodie, or a sticker that will absolutely get you dirty looks at Whole Foods, you're helping keep independent voices alive. That's patriotism with a discount code, baby. Grab your merch, support the mission, caffeinate your soul, and trigger your local liberal. All with one order. All right, let's shift gears time to get patriotic. Tonight's Patriot Minute is for the Americans who don't get hashtags, headlines, fanfare, or applause. But without them, this country wouldn't make it a single day. I'm talking about the men and women right now standing watch on the other side of the world. The sailors stationed in the Middle East staring down hostile waters, the pilots running patrols, the Marines ready to move at a moment's notice. I'm talking about the boots on the ground who don't get political about the mission. They just carry it every damn day. This is for the ICE officers in the heartland, pulling double shifts because the border crisis didn't stop at the border. For the deputies in rural states who suddenly find themselves dealing with cartel networks they never expected. For the analysts in windowless rooms staring at screens and maps and intel feeds, piecing together the threats that most Americans will never even hear about. They're not famous, they're not trending, but they're the backbone of a country that still believes in strength, resolve, and protecting the innocent. And this is for every veteran who came home and still carries the weight of memories that most people couldn't handle for 10 seconds. For every family member who stands by them. For every Gold Star family who paid the price no one should ever have to pay. Freedom isn't some political slogan to them. It's a memory etched into their bones. So, tonight, while everyone on social media shouts into the void about things they barely understand, we take 60 seconds to acknowledge the people who actually hold this nation together, the quiet heroes, the unseen defenders, the Americans who don't need credit. They just need this country to stay worth defending. This show sees you, this audience respects you, and this country is still standing because of you. All right, it's Friday, the caffeine is kicking in, the internet is melting down, and that means it's time for the part of the show where each of our panelists gets to go full throttle in their own lane. If you're new to the program, buckle up. If you're a regular, you already know this is where things get wild, unfiltered, and dangerously honest.
Let me tell you something, Artie. I am fed up with this week's stupidity. First off, Democrats are suddenly pretending they care about the Middle East like they didn't spend the last 4 years apologizing to every hostile regime with a Twitter account, Iran fires rockets, Trump sends ships, and Democrats respond like, oh no, strength, someone call HR. These people wouldn't know leadership if it hit them like a tax hike. And don't even get me started on the border. Cartels in Nebraska, dude. Nebraska. That's not immigration. That's an invasion with GPS issues, and liberals are on TV like, well, actually, this is a humanitarian complexity. No, it's not. It's what happens when your border policy is written by people who think zoos should be open concept. And BRICS? Bro! Watching Russia, China, and a handful of economically confused countries try to dethrone the US dollar is like watching toddlers build a rocket ship out of cardboard. They're pushing a currency backed by vibes and corruption. Meanwhile, Trump's team is out here playing chess while BRICS is over there trying to swallow the pieces. This whole week was a masterclass in why strong leadership matters and why Democrats should never be allowed anywhere near foreign policy, border policy, or a checkbook MAGA Fire Friday. Baby, we ain't cooling down.
Brian coming in hotter than a Biden fall down a flight of stairs. Flawless, powerful, and painful to watch for Democrats. If you're listening at home, take a drink every time Brian says bro. But don't blame me when your liver files for bankruptcy. All right, Rachel, it's time for the calm, surgical, red pill beatdown only you can deliver.
Okay, here's my red pill rant for the week. The amount of selective outrage in the country right now is exhausting. People are panicking about Trump sending naval forces to stabilize a region where Iran fired the first shot. You cannot scream de-escalation if you refuse to acknowledge who escalated first. It's like yelling at a firefighter for turning on the hose instead of asking the arsonist to use indoor voices. Then we have the border mess. I swear, it's like Democrats think cartels respect imaginary lines of compassion. They don't. They respect opportunity, chaos, and governments too spineless to enforce laws. Sanctuary states created incentives. Incentives created pathways. Pathways created networks. Networks created expansion. This isn't a mystery. It's basic cause and effect. Something liberals apparently stopped teaching in college around the same time they replaced textbooks with gender studies coloring books. And finally, BRICS. Look, the threat isn't that their currency will replace ours. It won't. The threat is the intent. When unstable nations unite around a shared resentment of the US, that's not economic strategy, that's geopolitical drama dressed as finance, and it needs to be taken seriously. So, yes, take the red pill, folks. The world is chaotic, but the patterns aren't hard to see if you actually look.
Rachel could walk onto the floor of the Senate right now, drop that rant, and half of Congress would ask for early retirement. She hits harder than a Chicago tax bill, Daniel. Your board is glowing like a Vegas casino at midnight. Lay out the big conspiracy web.
All right, gather around, because everything that happened this week connects, and it's not even subtle. Start with Iran. They launched proxies at the same time. BRICS launched their currency. Not after, not before. Same day. That's not coincidence, that's synchronized pressure. Why? Because global adversaries test American leadership most aggressively when they think the US is stretched thin. Now combine that with the cartel surge into Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska. Criminal organizations don't pick new routes randomly. They move when they sense confusion in US enforcement. And what did we have this week? Sanctuary rulings, processing bottlenecks, and a bunch of blue states still pretending the word illegal is offensive. Now flip back to BRICS. China and Russia want American distraction. Distraction leads to vulnerability. So while BRICS attacks economically, Iran attacks militarily, and cartels attack domestically, 3 fronts, same objective, same week. But here's the part that really spikes the board. Rubio's rapid response wasn't just diplomacy, it was a signal to BRICS, to Iran, to every hostile actor watching. We're not spinning, we're not stalling, we're not confused. We see all of it. Chaos is the enemy's weapon. Clarity is ours.
I swear, Daniel's the only guy who could take 3 separate world events and combine them like they're ingredients in a geopolitical smoothie. And best part? He's usually dead right. Skylar, the floor is yours. Hit him with the progressive angle and try not to give Brian a heart attack.
I'll do my best. Here's where I land this week. Yes, Iran is dangerous. Yes, Trump's naval move was predictable. Yes, cartels are expanding. And yes, BRICS is trying to redefine global power. But here's the part we keep skipping. Every one of these crises exists because of instability. Instability created by decades of intervention, corruption, uneven development, and untreated social and economic pressure. Strength matters. I'm not denying that, but if our only tool is strength, then we're just waiting for the next crisis to erupt. We need strategy, diplomacy, economic reform, modernization, enforcement that actually works, and policies that don't push vulnerable people straight into the arms of cartels or extremist groups. America is strong, always has been. But power without foresight is how we got stuck in these cycles to begin with. So, my progressive spotlight this week is simple. Project strength, yes, but build stability too. Otherwise, we're just going to keep reacting to fires we helped start decades ago.
And that is the Friday panelist segment lineup. Fire, logic, strings, and idealism all in one place. This is why this show hits the way it does. 4 totally different angles. One giant messy truth. All right, time to shift gears. Let's roll into the final thought intro. All right, folks, we've hit that point in the show. The point where the headlines fade, the jokes settle, the gloves come off, and what's left is the truth underneath everything we argued about tonight. Every Friday, we close out with something different. Not just reactions, not just hot takes, but the deeper stuff, the real stuff. The part where each of our panelists takes a breath, looks past the noise, and speaks straight from who they are, without the sparring or the interruptions. Because whether we're talking about Iran poking the world, cartels crawling into the Midwest, or BRICS trying to get cute with global currencies, all of it boils down to one thing: what we believe America should be, and what we believe America must be to survive the chaos that's closing in from all sides. And each of these voices, Brian's fire, Rachel's logic, Daniel's strings, Skylar's conviction, they hit different. But together they paint a picture of a country trying to figure out which road it's headed down. So for this part of the show, no shouting, no debating, no dunk contests. Just 4 perspectives, 4 worldviews, and 4 final thoughts as we send you into the weekend with something real to chew on. Brian, start us off.
Look, man, after a week like this, here's where I'm at. America needs to stop apologizing for being strong. I'm tired of watching people in this country act like power's a bad thing, like peace magically shows up if we just hug the world long enough. That's not how any of this works. Iran respects strength, not hashtags. Cartels respond to consequences, not compassion speeches. BRICS wants to see if we're still the backbone of the world, or if we turned into a spineless committee of bureaucrats. And what they saw this week is that when Trump moves, the world pays attention. When America acts like America, the rest of the planet adjusts. I don't care what party you're from. Weak leadership gets people hurt. Period. Weak borders get towns flooded. Weak foreign policy gets allies attacked. Weak presidents get soldiers killed. And every time I hear a Democrat cry about escalation when they can't even explain who fired first, all I hear is cowardice wrapped in academic bullshit. This country survives because strong people do hard things. And that's the lesson, not just for this week, but for every week. Strength isn't aggression. Strength keeps the wolves outside the fence. And the second we stop being strong, we stop being safe. That's my final thought.
My final thought tonight is really simple. We have to stop letting emotions and political narratives cloud the reality of the world we live in. Iran doesn't attack because they're misunderstood. They attack because they think they can get away with it. Cartels don't move into the Midwest because they're seeking opportunity. They move because policies created openings. BRICS didn't launch a currency because they're financially capable. They did it because they want to undermine U.S. stability. This week showed us, again, that the world isn't safe, simple, or fair. And the people who keep trying to turn geopolitics into therapy sessions are doing more harm than good. We need leadership grounded in reality, supported by strategy, and conscious of consequences. Not leadership by feelings, not leadership by slogans, not leadership by wishful thinking. And this isn't about left or right. It's about whether we want a country that reacts to danger or a country that pretends danger disappears if you ignore it long enough. Peace comes from preparedness, not denial. Stability comes from clarity, not delusion. And if we lose sight of that, we lose a lot more than political arguments. We lose the ability to protect the people who rely on us.
You want my final take? Here it is. Everything we saw this week was a test. A coordinated, multi-front test. Iran pushed militarily to see if Trump hesitated. Cartels pushed domestically to see if sanctuary policies would slow federal response. BRICS pushed economically to see if America's global focus would fracture. These aren't separate events. They're stress points on the same structure. A structure hostile actors want to see crack. But here's the thing they can't calculate. America is unpredictable when led by strength. When Trump sent those ships, it wasn't just a response. It was a message. When Rubio hit the airwaves, it wasn't just commentary. It was calibration. When law enforcement in the Midwest pushed back, it wasn't just local action. It was a reminder that rural America doesn't fold under pressure. We're in a moment where global players think America is vulnerable because of years of internal chaos. They think division weakens us. They think confusion blinds us. They think we're too busy fighting each other to recognize what they're doing. But they always forget the same thing. America may argue, but when the threats get real, we unify, we adapt, we get sharper. This week wasn't the beginning of a crisis. It was the beginning of clarity.
My final thought is this. Strength matters, but so does what we do with it. We can't keep repeating the same cycles. Cycles where conflict leads to retaliation leads to escalation, and escalation leads to another decade of instability. Yes, Iran is a threat. Yes, cartels are dangerous. Yes, BRICS is a geopolitical challenge, but we can't rely solely on force. We can't rely solely on reaction. We can't rely solely on dominance. Like, America has to be strong, absolutely, but it also has to be wise. And wisdom means understanding the systems that fuel these crises, the economic desperation that empowers cartels, the regional instability that empowers hostile states, the global inequality that gives rise to anti-Western alliances. None of that goes away just because we deploy ships or shut down illegal networks. Strength solves the immediate danger. Strategy solves the long-term threat. And if we ever want a world where we aren't constantly reacting to the next crisis, we have to invest in both, not one, not the other, both. That's how you build a future that isn't just safer, but actually better.
You know, after a week like this, you sit back for a second and really take in the bigger picture. Because when you strip away the headlines, the outrage, the noise, the politics, what you're left with is a world testing America on every front. Iran tested us militarily. The cartels tested us domestically. BRICS tested us economically. And every single time, the people who hate this country were waiting for us to stumble. Waiting for us to apologize for strength. Waiting for us to back down, bow out, step aside, or hesitate. Because that's what weak nations do. That's what fragile nations do. That's what nations in decline do. But here's what they don't understand, and what they always forget. America might fight internally. We might argue like hell. We might disagree on everything from taxes to pronouns. But when the world pushes us, when the wolves circle, when the threats get real, something kicks in. Something old. Something deep. Something carved into the bones of this country since the first damn day it was born. We don't flinch. We don't fold. We don't apologize for defending ourselves or our allies. And we sure as hell don't let regimes, cartels, or communist alliances dictate our future. And if there's one thing this week proved, it's that leadership matters. Strength matters. Resolve matters. Because peace isn't the absence of conflict. Peace is the presence of power. Peace is the knowledge that if you cross certain lines, someone on the other end is willing to enforce them. That's not warmongering. That's not aggression. That's survival. That's reality. And for 4 long years, reality was something our leaders tried to escape with diplomacy theater and virtue signaling speeches that made our enemies laugh behind closed doors. Now, they're not laughing. Not this week. Not after the naval deployments. Not after the BRICS pushback. Not after the border crackdown. They're watching. They're recalculating. They're remembering what they forgot. That America is chaos on the surface but steel underneath. That we can argue, we can yell, we can be divided. But when the danger gets close enough, you'll see Americans lock in harder than any country on earth. So as you go into the weekend, remember this. The world is shifting. The pressure is rising. The stakes are climbing. But we've been here before. And every single time people counted this country out, Americans proved them wrong. Keep your head up. Keep your eyes open, and most of all, remember the purpose of this show. Speak truth. Stir thought. All right, folks, that wraps up this Friday edition of Data and Dissonance. Another week of chaos, corruption, global stupidity, and American resilience. And like always, you rolled with us through every twist, every meltdown, every headline, and every truth the media refuses to touch. To the listeners, thank you for showing up, for thinking for yourselves, and for being part of a community that actually gives a damn about where this country's heading. We'll be back Monday, 5 p.m. Central, ready to kick off a brand new week of insanity, comedy, and unapologetic honesty. Until then, stay informed, stay loud, stay grounded, and keep your sense of humor because we're gonna need it. Have a safe weekend, hug the people who matter, and don't let the craziness of the world make you forget the good that's still out there. We love you, we appreciate you, and as always, speak truth. Stir thought. Tonight's episode was brought to you by the Caleb Rourke thriller series, The Covenant Protocol, The Prophet Directive, and the upcoming Black Echo Rising. If you love high-stakes action, deep state intrigue, gritty realism, military precision, and storytelling that punches harder than a CNN meltdown, these books are your next obsession. Available now on Amazon, with Book 3 dropping December 23rd, 2025. Grab them today and support the mission.